What does it take to change the world? It takes a long chain of resilient men and women, endowed with various skill sets and divergent mindsets, holistically working together to achieve a common goal. It is a synergetic effect of different art forms combining into one to think, design, and create mind-blowing stories. A systematic workflow and processes from department to another. A set of professional tools and elements designed to create and fine-tune. It takes persistence, consistency, and collaboration to tell compelling stories, to evoke emotions, and to change the world. We have designed a one-stopover center online with all the seasoned creatives from all the realms of the film industry. Together, we can. We are the Filmhackers.
Distribution. And with me on the panel, I have amazing, talented people that have been creating content for quite a long time. So they are here with us to share the insights and the pros and cons of what it takes to produce content out there. How do you prepare for your production? How do you pitch? How do you sell your content out there? And with me on the panel, I have, on my left-hand side, I have Mustaque from Ebony Hue. Please introduce yourself, Mustaque.
Hi, this is Mustaque Abdallah from Ebony Hue. I'm a cinematographer and running a production house now.
On my right side, I have Rhonnie. Rhonnie, please introduce yourself.
Rhonnie Nkalubo Abraham. I'm a producer. I'm a filmmaker. I've been making films since 2007. And I'm glad to be here. I'm excited for this discussion. Thank you, guys.
On my extreme right, I have Shawn from NTV. Shawn, please tell us a little bit about you.
All right, my name is Shawn Stuart Segawa. I'm a producer and a director with NTV. Worked with a couple of other TVs and also a couple of freelance projects. Glad to be here.
So, gentlemen, today we have an interesting topic where I want us to discuss content creation and distribution. I would like to start with Mustaque. Where do we lie in terms of content, in terms of the Ugandan content that we have today?
Well, content, already when you say content, that's already quite broad, but we've come a long way. I've been in the industry since it's coming to 20 years now. That's all the way from my senior 6 VAC. So, and I've been lucky to be like through all the phases almost that any filmmaker would like to probably go through. I've shot weddings, I've shot literally all the way from down there to where I am now, where we're doing films and TV shows and stuff like that. So probably I've been lucky enough to be through all the phases. And for all this time, I can surely say that the industry has quite grown in terms of content creation. That, of course, comes with quality, with the young guys that have joined the industry, the creativity, social media, So there's basically quite a number of platforms that have enabled the industry to literally grow. So I can say that honestly, from all the way from VHS to where we came from,
the tapes,
to where we are right now, I can honestly say that we've come a long way, and I think now we've got decent content, and of course, just like the topic says, is now probably how do we put it out there. So there's also been at least a very, very, very good indication and a very good growth as well in terms of where and how far we can push our content. That has also been quite a journey. I remember those days of music videos where we literally kind of like had to style up the entire music video game. Artists kind of like entrusted us with shooting their videos by then, which was quite good. And it also, I mean, we literally learned on job, if I may say. And yes, it has come a long way. And today we're good to, we've come to having people like Sasha Vibes who are now, getting nominated for bigger, awards out there, across Africa.
Representing the country.
Yeah, so I'm actually very proud of that young man, because I remember the time he was in his film school in Cape Town. I used to keep in touch with him, we talk about a few things here and there. So I'm really, really happy that, music videos, why I'm saying music videos, because I think music videos have played a very, very big role
to change the industry.
In changing the industry. We've taken so many risks, we've learned on job, but thank God we are here, we are right now. And one of the biggest thank yous goes to the music video guys. Then of course, plus the artists who have allowed us to try and dive into their stuff, and they don't know that we're trying out some things work out, others don't, and stuff like that. And then we come to, of course, where we are right now. The content is available, but now how do we put it out there? Still, these platforms, YouTube, Facebook, blah, blah, Instagram and all that. But I think when it comes to monetizing the content, where I should say that some of us who came into this industry as a hobby have had a very, 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 very big challenge into turning it into a business, and that is where I think a very, very, very big group of the filmmakers comes from. We've seen XYZ in the industry, and we're like, okay, I would like to be like this guy, and then you admire the person, not knowing that behind there things are a bit harder than just what you see in your face, so now that is where the challenge is. When we get content, how do we put it out there? How do we benefit from it? Those are the steps that currently we are learning. Personally, I'm starting up something called Ebony Heights. It's going to be a hub that is going to literally embrace and welcome all the filmmakers, where we get to learn from each other, all the different departments, from the producers to the writers to the content creators down to the editors to literally every angle. So we all sit under one shed, under one roof, and see how we can make things better. But we can usually I think we can only make things better when we're all under one roof. Under one roof, not meaning that we're going to own you, but here you are
working together as a team.
Exactly. Here we're in a place where I'm like, oh, Shafiq, you do good graphics. Maybe I have a graphics gig. How you're next to me? How do we do this together? Nkalubo here is good at whatever he does in producing, and then like enough we have NTV. If I'm doing this, how would you? I mean, from step zero, how do I make sure that probably my work ends up at his station? Because most of us have thought as individuals, and then when we're finally out there, we crash. Because then here I am with content, and a TV station can't buy it.
So right on that point, I would like to hear your side of the view. Where are we as content creators? I would like to have your perspective.
Very many producers in the recent past have been moving around with lots of projects on hard drives in their computers, and like finished products. Reason is, like what Musta said, is they were passion driven to create. You have a passion to create a story, you will go write it, find money, go find people, make the film. But now we are at that stage where everyone should bring out every other creation of theirs, and then we figure out a way how all these stories and all these film series, TV shows can get to the people out there. I have a personal experience. I have a very strong background from the theater industry, where we used to do plays. I was part of a play in 1996 It was a Bakaimbra Drama Actors play for street children called Batuvanja. That is where I drove my passion to enter into the industry. Because slightly after that, they were filming Chigenya Agenya. And I remember they got guys from WBS, I think Chiwa was on camera, and I wouldn't stop standing behind that man. Chigenya Agenya. Then there was another phase of Chigenya Agenya where we had Ali, Baka, and there was Air Jembas. And by that time, because I had got the experience from Chiwa, they would send me to do a thing or two. So out of the excitement, you also want to create, like how you have seen these guys. So many young people out there trying to create because they've seen Mustaque create, but you don't really even know where the film is going to go. So after that, that has gone on for seasons. But now, like in the past 4 or 5 years, we have to commercialize, we have to monetize this content. So you have to take it out of that hard drive and send it onto the people. One of the greatest add-ons has been the coming of social media, like Musta said, YouTube, Facebook, so many things. Like you get to reach out to so many people than the old times of ours, where your pay was giving you 10 tickets and you have to trade them around, to kutembeya them. You have to go to Owino and convince a lady that you have to buy my ticket. So that's how we used to make the money. But now I can reach out to all those people using these other platforms. Now we are at that stage. But why we have been at this stage for all this long is for so many reasons. But what we have control over, besides what we don't have control. For example, what we don't have so much control over are the policies. That's why you'll hear people talking about the copyright law, people will be talking about all those so many things. I am a person who engages those people, but I always tell my fellow filmmakers that let's do what we can do. Like what we can do is, let me better my content, let me look out for the right people, interact with them. I am part of a group that was formed in 2008, where we just, Uganda Film Network, you just sit around and share. And I can ably mention 10 people in the industry that are a product of such meetings. So, for example, government doesn't have control over us coming together and discussing and saying, let's do this. So why not have so many of those hubs, of those sessions? Because that is what is going to help us become better people. So out of those hubs, we have identified other people who have decided to join the industry, professionals that don't have a dream of, I want to act, I want to direct. People who have a dream of, I want to make money. So those are very important people joining the industry at this stage. And we shouldn't just look at them and feel like, I mean, dupe them around, because that's going to be their deter point. I was having a meeting yesterday with people who have been, how do they, the Abitexes, the people who have been doing Rivulu. I had a meeting with them and they are telling me, we want to join the film industry. Because, you know, so, all they want is, they have this little money they have got, and how do they bring it in and then take it out? Now that is the biggest risk. Because some people are not very prepared to make the money out of the industry.
And I don't think we're even ready to politicize the industry anyway.
True. That's why we should keep both our eyes open. Actually, all our eyes, not just two of them. All our eyes open.
So Shawn, what do you have to say on the status of the industry? Where are we at from your perspective?
All right. I think from the experience, the time I've watched the industry grow, personally, I believe we have grown, like the two guys are saying. We have grown to a very good stage. I also say partly the first section was the guys who did a lot of music videos did a good job. They pushed quality. Because from where I stand, for TV's sake, the amount of pressure that you get about quality is high. And I am glad for the past 5 years, the video that I might have watched back then has improved a lot.
Yeah.
From lighting to sound to picture quality, it has improved a lot.
Yeah.
And also, from the video guys, we were able to advance to the section which is the film and dramas. I think the film industry has grown immensely faster than probably the music videos, although the publicity is low, but they have grown.
Yeah.
Because the last nomination and the awards that I saw, I got a chance to look at one of the snippets of the winners that we had, and it's good content, even from the storylines.
Yeah.
You get. We've had things like Beneath the Lies. We've had things like what NTV is running right now, Power of Legacy. I've watched most of these. The stories where I've seen Malaika, Mushema, the actors themselves are doing an incredible job.
Yeah.
From the DOPs to the directors to the storylines.
Yeah.
It's improved immensely well.
Yeah.
And I think if you asked, like you asked the question of where do we stand?
Yeah.
One, we are moving quite well at a good pace, and I like the stability of it because I think the foundation is good. Thank you, Musta. Thank you, Rhonnie. You guys are holding it up there, down there, and you're supporting the talent up.
Yeah.
The part, though, that I feel we may be lacking is part of publicity involves holding a strong foundation on the grassroots, which means we need to find a space where we allow our content to thrive within the environment locally.
Yeah.
And I feel that's a very challenging part. For instance, the top person that we had, the top nominated feature film that we had, I think last year, right? I keep forgetting the name. But when I first saw the trailer, and I heard he had been nominated, I was interested to watch what it was. Unfortunately, I couldn't find it anywhere here. And I think you can testify, very few movies go to the red carpet. Very few. And I understand, yes, people are skeptical and they're worried about, you see my content, but you see, you can't produce content for you.
Yeah, it's true.
It doesn't happen. You've got to learn to do things and let your wings flap a little. Then you will learn to fly.
Yeah.
So I am looking at a situation where we've done a lot, we are growing, but I don't think it's time for us to give up. I think we are at the stage where we can see the icing on the cake, if you understand that literal meaning. We just need to add a little. And yes, later probably I'll explain the things from our side that I feel we would love to improve as TV, the things that I see that we can add. But for now, I said that is where we're standing. And I don't think TV is so close to trying to exploit the setting. I think they're open to it, but we need to hold it together as a team. Right. So far, so good, where we have moved to.
Yeah. Let's take a commercial break. So when we come back, we're going to be discussing other interesting things about this topic. Welcome back to the Filmhackers Talkshow. Today we're discussing content creation and distribution. And for you, those of you who are watching there, feel free to share the link to other people so that they can come on board and watch this interesting topic. So, Shawn and Musta, I've been moving around different studios, and there is this very big common question that is usually asked about how do we move our content out there so that we can sell this content globally, because we have a very serious problem that people have given up on the local televisions because they don't buy their content, so people are starting up their YouTube channel, their Facebook, they're basically going on social media. And during this COVID time, we've seen a lot of VOD platforms coming up. So where does that leave the local distribution of the people who go and buy stuff to the DVDs? And most importantly, how do we sell our content out there? I would like to paint a picture for someone who's going to wake up in the morning and give me over 100 million to invest in content. How can I take that money back? Because I meet so many brilliant young people with very amazing ideas, and they have these amazing scripts that are going to make blockbusters. But as it turns out, when you ask them, okay, I'm going to give you this money, how do I get my money back? And they can't answer that question. And you know, why can they answer that question? It's simply because there's no proper avenue that today when you produce a blockbuster movie, you're going to end up selling it at this much on this kind of platform, unless you go outside Uganda. So I would like us to know and paint a picture for someone who is just getting into the industry. What are those things that they should look out before even pressing the button record or going to the scene to start working?
Okay, that's a very interesting question, actually. I've had a chance to work both, as a person who they employ to come and shoot stuff, and lately I'm coming onto the side of executing a production, as executive producer and stuff like that. So I have probably tried to learn from where I have come from in terms of the different productions I've had a chance to feature in. And I have seen a lot of things that we do, but I think the biggest mistake that we're all making is, yes, the platforms are now available. Anybody can come on board, dive in. And the biggest, I don't know if I should call it the biggest problem, which is not a problem, but maybe the biggest issue that we have is everyone is coming on board in a manner that is, should I say, as a hobby. The moment you dive in as a hobby, it is very, 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 very hard, if you're not careful, to start running this industry as a business. So here we are sitting on very good scripts, but we love them for us.
Yes, for
you know
ourselves.
What I'm saying? Yeah.
Yes.
So you come up with a very good story. You call XYZ guys. This is very good. Let's shoot it. But it has not gone through the avenue it's meant to be going through. The guys, the team, to sit down and say, okay, I have this idea. Who's the writer? Who's the screenwriter? Who's the director? Who's the cinematographer? Who is the gaffer? Who's, all these things are going to enable us start looking at things in a business angle. Because then others, I'm going to come and say, me, Musta, I have a script. I know I'm good at camera operating. I see things differently, so I'm a good DP. But then I think I should do the sound as well because I don't have the XYZ. Then since I can do the camera work, then I think lighting shouldn't be a problem. So maybe if I put one light there and here, and as long as I can see a picture that is very good, then since the directors usually take quite a chunk of money,
I can direct it myself.
I can tell this story. I mean, I've read the script really. I should be able to do this. So all these kind of things, that is where the hobby problem comes in. Because you don't think outside
the box.
The scope, because then you're so attached to your story that you feel like nobody else can tell it out there. So how do we make money out of this? One, let us accept our positions in the industry. I, for one, like for example, in the lockdown, I've been learning how to color grade. Yeah. You know, all the from my phone photography things, you know, and then I'm like, wait, if people tend to like my pictures, then let me go and do some few lessons online about color grading. But today you can't bring a project to me and I color grade it. Yeah. No, because I don't consider myself that, you know, yet.
You don't call yourself a colorist?
No, at least not yet, you know. So when one comes to me, I stand up tall and say, yes, I can shoot your work. That's because then I'm confident about it. So if we get down and start separating all these things, because then as you separate them, you get to learn what it takes to have a team. When you get learn to what it takes a team, you then know, okay, this then means this is not me alone, so X, Y, Z will need payment, Y, Z, X, Y, so I need to bring in an A. The A is the guy who looks at this as business.
Yes, properly business.
He is there as a business person.
Yeah.
You tell him what you want to put out there, he says, okay, good. Then he thinks as a businessman or as a business person. Then how do you two merge this to make it work? Because, that is the way to go, trust me, because I have been there. I have seen all the mistakes we've done. I have done so many mistakes. You know, you have work out there. It is amazing. People like calling you, Mustaque, man, your video, man, but you don't have money.
But yeah, it's true. And actually, I keep on telling my friend this, like, I'm so passionate about my craft. I'm 100% passionate. But this passion at one point has to be fueled. Like,
yes.
So when you start being, I started as a very passionate person, but now I realize that for you to make it to a certain level, you need a certain set of skills, which is the business aspect of the genre. And very many young people that are coming into the industry don't know this kind of stuff.
No,
so
they don't see it out there. They're going to see you, Shafic, they see you driving a nice car, and they think that, I think he's made it.
Yeah, and we will always look at things like, you know, buying cameras, buying new lenses, buying new stuff, and forget about, like, the most important thing, like strategy, like how do I take my script to an NGO and tell them, let me put your vision into my script so that I can get funding for this project. So we lack that kind of stuff. So I would like to hear from you, Rhonnie.
I am a product of the hobby theory. I remember my very first time to say, in the beginning I was one thing. I was a writer.
Yeah.
Because I started writing at a very early age. Yeah. So in the beginning I was a writer. Yeah. But I remember sitting behind the editor for around 6 months to just give me 45 minutes of my film, made me become an editor. Yeah. Because I couldn't get what you wanted out of the game. I mean, I would sit there at a studio on Namirembe Road, just below Image Vision, where the Robinsons were, and the guy would edit a whole session of a wedding in Pinnacle Studio where I am waiting. I am seated there waiting. So I went to my big brother and he gave me 300,000. I bought a PC. So I got those, we used High 8.
Yes, I remember them.
High 8 and DV8.
Yeah, I remember that camera,
So I first got issues trying to capture. Then I got someone, got Geoffrey Kugonza was working, I think, with NBS was starting. So he got a capture card, put for me the things on a hard drive. And that's how I became an editor. So the hobby theory is very common. How I became a director, the guy did not come, so I had to direct. And this is what happens. When people end up seeing you doing those things and they like the film, they like the film at their level. That's why I always tell people, filmmakers, we are like musicians. When that musician goes into that booth, they are making the hit for the next day. So when you are making your film, it is the best. It is going to be out there and it's going to be the best.
Yeah.
And in the eyes of some people, they would feel like you are a more director than a writer. So they always come to you. Hey, Rhonnie, come and direct for me. Rhonnie, edit for me this. Rhonnie, because they've seen you do those things. They think you are good at it. Yeah, for example, now I want Mustaque to color my film because he has been doing it for months now.
For him, it's a hobby and he doesn't consider himself to be that.
That's how it begins. I am a product of the hobby theory.
Yeah.
But now, in the past years, I think I have moved so much in the past 4 years than how I failed in the last 15 years. I've been in this industry for like 10 years, for like 20 years now. Yeah. But the past 4 years, because I decided on what Shafic just suggested, to also have the business mind.
Yes, the business mind. It's very important.
It is very important. And you realize that the people who are actually shooting my films, the cinematographer, the young girl Fauzia Modimida, I met her, I saw her begin, but now she's my DOP. I am comfortable.
You've allowed that.
I have allowed that.
You've allowed that.
It takes that.
Yes. You've allowed your baby to go.
I have allowed my baby to go. And then this is what it helps you. Every other creative has that special interest, the talent, how different they see things.
Yes.
So I cannot do that. There is some other thing she adds on to my projects. So that's going to be a very important ingredient for us to move. Yeah. Now, the other aspect that is very important is the type of stories we need to create, the type of content. Yeah. Why? Because we don't have formal film schools. Yeah. As an industry, we still lack a direction on, like someone looks at our films and you can tell that film is from Uganda. Because every other person is watching a different thing and we are all in the same industry. So there's, the Mustas will tell you, I think that film was made in Germany, or by this DOP, or by this. We don't have that because Musta is watching different things and creating in the same industry. I'm watching different things and creating. Now, we need to go back onto the drawing board and realize that how we want to tell our stories. The other most important is our stories. That is also important. Because we have learned on the job, we have been watching different things. Yes. That is why you will find a film about Njabara, 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 Tolin Sanzam, and the soundtrack is a clone of Prison Break. Yeah, because we are all... So, we need to identify. We need to identify and allow... How do we tell Njabala and Njabala the Ugandan way in our version?
Not the Prison Break way.
I love what the Shafics are doing, focusing on the technical. Yeah. Yes, we are all getting there in the sound, in the light, in the picture. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. But if they gave us $10 billion US today, and we want 10 productions at $1 billion US, the four of us would struggle to mention 10 writers.
It's true. It's true.
Like people have to go on set on the same day. 10 writers, 10 DPs, 10 sound people. Yeah. Everyone will tell you, literally something is going on now in the industry. Yeah. Very many people have been commissioned by Pearl Magic. Yeah. But the technical guys are not available.
Yes.
Everyone is telling you, you see, I am running from this set. Now I've asked my assistants to go and do this. That is how small our industry is.
It's very small, actually. You can't even mention we don't even have over 20 production houses to produce content.
I have a list of 123 production houses. But the 123 production houses, if I classify these are the top in A, they are using about 5 DPs. Yeah? So across. So we can't have the 123 production houses making films.
And
you'll have to wait.
How many of those can produce projects that can go across the border? Say a production has come from here, it's done by a Ugandan, and we're pushing it to Hollywood or to our Western world.
Not 10%. But Shawn has had a very good point.
Yeah.
Let's localize our audience and reach.
Yeah.
I love what Wakaliwood is doing.
Yeah.
Because when you get to their area, they have their local stars and it feels nice. If every other production house creates their audience, I may not create it in Najana Nkumbe where I'm making films from.
Yeah.
I may create it on a platform like NTV or Bukede or all those other TVs.
Yeah.
But then I know I can meet a group of people who love my work, so that by the time we come and work together in the other hub, you have what to bring on the table.
So, Shawn, we would like to hear from your side. What's your perspective about this whole thing of
how do we get to the international level?
Yeah, production, and how do we use the resources we have to push the projects that we're doing?
Okay, I'm going to try and break it into about three, because I look at it in form of three categories.
Yeah.
The beginning, who are the beginners, the intermediary, and the guys at the top.
Yeah.
So from Musta's point, when we open up and we allow as much of what we can put in, it's a good idea, but it also exposes us.
Yeah.
So the first category of people who are getting into the industry at the lower ranks have learned a couple of bad habits, obviously, because they saw Musta run the camera and be the sound guy and the other. That needs to stop. That's what I would say. For the first guys, the guys who are getting in, the first thing you need to know, specialization will not kill you. It will not kill you. In fact, it will modify your skill to the level of what they are saying, that it will become a business. That they will not just say, come and do this and you're doing it for a hobby. You will grow from 500 to 1 million to whatever price you want, but you're doing it so perfectly and you're earning well for it, and you will move this Uganda to the next level. Which brings me to the second part. The intermediary guys Rhonnie is talking about. We need to find a way, I think intermediary and the guys at the top, we need to find a way to tell our local Ugandan story. I like the Honorables. I'm going to mention a few. I like the Honorables because they're depicting a story in our backyard here. You understand what I mean? Although twisted left, right, and center, but you get the idea. You know what I mean? For the intermediary guys, it simply means you've understood the hustle. You can understand that now you need to specialize that on my set, I need a lights guy. I may have the knowledge of what I want, but I need him. So now focus on how do I now make it better? Because the Muzungu, what people don't realize, the Muzungu, you're telling a story that is similar to theirs, is not interested. People don't realize this, but the reason why MultiChoice picked Bukede as a first channel from Uganda on their setting was because they realized this guy had content that is unique. It was a language that we don't know as a Muzungu, but the guys there seem interested in it.
It's true.
Top of that same part, it means the guys I have in the diaspora will be able to watch this channel.
It's true.
Because it's like how you watch Zulu and you don't understand, but guys in Zululand want to watch that. So if
really
guys in Zululand are here and you have a channel that shows Zulu content, they will watch it and they will love it. Exactly. Perfectly. So it simply means the guys in the middle, you've understood the specialization, now move to the next part. Confine your story and tell the African Ugandan story, what Wakaliwood is doing. When I move from that section, I need to move to the top guys. When you come to the top guys, you are the flagship to understanding when I say localize this content and allow it to spread. When I said let your wings fly a little, I meant there is no business that is not going to have a risk. But number two, you cannot fly so high without having a ground down where you started your foundation. So if you think you're going to move this content to MultiChoice without a ground down, what happens when MultiChoice closes? You'll have no market.
Yeah, it's true.
So you need the market here. But also when you drum roll a lot here, you go higher. Kenzo did that. We've seen a lot of people do that. You make whatever you're doing from here and take it up. So my appeal to the top guys would be, one, you come back to the ground. If you found a way to localize the content, then allow yourself to let it spread.
Yeah.
It has to. I do not know if there is a shortcut to, I don't know. I wish, actually, for me, if I had a call, I would say, I wish Musta and Rhonnie would do 2 films every year. And you say film 1 is for our people here, film 2 is for selling.
For selling out.
No, what that would do, it's what the Nigerians did.
Yeah.
They spread a lot of their content. They weren't earning. And number 3 about the same thing, I think most people don't realize this, but the top directors, and I think it's something with our field, the top directors that you have in the industry out there, they're not 22, they're not 23, they're not 30, they're above. It means it's a craft you need to be patient with and grow. You need to grow it. You're not going to do film 1 and... I have done projects with him, I've done projects with people like Isaac, and some of them we've just let them flourish. It allows you to get feedback, which we are doing now. It allows you grow the craft into what it has to be, uniqueness and quality, and then it allows you to attract your people, and then you will grow a bigger audience.
So, Shawn, you've talked about a very interesting topic right there, where you say we have to localize the content. But as it turns out, a bigger percentage of content creators in Uganda are so frustrated by the broadcasters because we have this thing called, oh, bring your content, we put it on TV, you get 70, we'll take 70%, you take 30%, of which the 30% cannot even facilitate your production cost. So when we come back, we're going to be discussing the distribution of content locally and globally. Welcome back to the show. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Need Studio, Garage Group, and Incredible Media for putting this show together. It's because of the collaboration that we have with different people is the reason as why we're having this show live. Thank you so much to Need Studio, Garage Group, and Incredible Media. So over the years, we've had a very interesting conversation about distribution, and 90% of the content creators are frustrated by the local TV, simply because today when you wake up in the morning and you shoot your TV show or your TV series or your feature film and take it to TV, they will tell you, we're giving you 70% and you're taking 30%. You get, they're taking 70% and you're taking 30%. Which 30% does not even take care of your production cost. So I would like to ask someone who has been in broadcast for a long period of time, why is this happening for over and over again? And why don't we have the 70% content distribution on local channel accepted? For example, someone will tell you that when you get a Philippine movie and translate it in Uganda, it becomes local content. You get? And you're seeing a very big trend of so many TVs showing that local content. Yes. So today when you wake up as Musta and you make your film and take it to TVB, I don't want to mention names, you take it to TVB, they will tell you give us 70%. They will tell you that you're taking 30%, they are taking 70%. Yes. But now, what is so interesting is I've been in the film market where you see them buying content. Let's say someone goes and buys Designated Survivor, brings it here at $200 because it's cheap, because it has already made its money. Yes. So even if they sell an episode at $200, it's fine. They will still make the money. Yes. So when they bring it here, they will cut it. If the episode is 40 minutes, they will cut it into 20 minutes. So throw in a lot of adverts, scrolls, squeeze backs, and they make a lot of money out of it. Yes. So when Musta takes a production that he has spent over 70 millions to a TV, they will tell them, we can't afford buying that content.
So we're giving you 30% of the whatever.
Yes. So I want to start with you, Musta.
Just briefly. When you say TV takes 70% and gives you 30%, our viewers need to know that, one, they don't give you money. Now, when you find a person, an advertiser, they take 70% and you take the 30%. Because you saying they take 70% seems like someone is providing the money. Yes. They don't give you money.
Yes.
Eh?
Okay. Yes. This is something that has been eating the industry, everybody involved in it for a very long time.
Yes.
But you see, I think where the biggest problem or the biggest challenge is that we're in a situation where our beloved government has failed, if I may use that, to put up infrastructures that allow that to happen. Yeah. We went into privatization. What did that mean? That meant that if I have got a beautiful idea out there, now I am free to go and license it and turn it into a business and make money off it, just like any other business. So people out there came. The likes of NTV came around, the WBSs have been here, XYZ TV stations have been here. One of the things that we need to know is that they're running private businesses. Yeah. And out of all that, they are making sure they make money as much as possible. You can go and look at the results of CG, who pays the top URA, CG, what. These TV stations are there. What is happening is that you cannot I cannot come to your shop and tell you that this packet of salt is ideally supposed to be bought at 50 shillings. Why are you selling it at 500 shillings? You see what I'm saying? Why I'm saying is that is if government comes out and says that we need to, for example, broadcast. What was the ratio?
70%.
70% of local content.
Yes.
But the 70% of the local content, of we who are producing local content, cannot sell it to the local TV stations that are around because they all want to make money off it at the same time. If the government had several TV stations, then that is viable, because then, as the government will say, we are airing 70%. And that is stamped, and that's it. You see it, because then things like how much we are buying it, all those things will come in line, and people will know, okay, if I'm going to shoot Chigenya, XTV is buying every episode at 2 million. So I need to find a way of making sure I shoot this thing at 200K, so I can make my 1.8 off it. Yeah. You see it? But now, it is very hard. For you to come up with that, and yet you haven't put the infrastructure in place. Yeah. So the likes of my friends at NTV, we still need to make business of these things. Yeah. So that is where my only issue is with this whole 70-30 business. You see it? I don't know if I'm wrong, but
we would like to hear it from the horse's mouth.
I'm going to try and stress out two things. One, part of the reasons why people buy, from my own research, part of the reasons why people buy the Philippines and also translate it is a section that I don't want to think exists, but yet it does. It's a lack of creativity, honestly, without covering it too much. So when the part we're talking about having localized content is where the issue actually stands. So when someone doesn't have the local content, the things that you watch in the Philippines are normal day-to-day issues that will relate to a Ugandan somehow. Love, the storylines about love, storylines about juju, those sorts of things. So the person has just failed to find who can create for me that content in the storyline that they will love. That is part of number one problem. Part of number two problem is the production costs are high locally.
Yeah.
And production is not cheap. That's very true. So those are the two things. I think when people get to that stage, they are worried. But come down to 70, there are two issues. The one is 70% content is required on the local broadcast channels. Whichever the intentions are, very okay. I agree with him. We need a wider scope if you're going to do that, because with privatization, the companies, and where I disagree with him, are not necessarily trying to make money. Production costs are high, broadcast costs are higher. I'm going to enlighten this. So if you're to start a TV station today, you will likely need about bare minimum 500 to 800 million. Now I want you to draw that and bring it down to a lower level. Standard broadcast fees for 1 hour is about $300. An SNG, which is what they use to broadcast live stuff for one-offs, is going to ask you for $500,000 for a day. You get what I mean? And at that stage, you are not even thinking about infrastructure in terms of what your studio setup is. You have costs of rent, you have costs of the people who are inside. When you look at it closely, it's a high cost. But top of it all is that this person is going to set that setup and run it for the rest of the year while Shafic is creating content. You get what I mean? UCC alone, there are three sections that are heavy. You have the broadcast fees, you have the licensing and infrastructure. Licensing alone, UCC is going to ask you for, I think it's about 15 M for the license. StarTimes is going to ask you for 12. Signet is going to ask you for about 12. Now put those costs all together and tell me how much that person is actually spending. So that is how they come to the section of saying, let us give you 70%, sorry, let's give you 30% and keep 70. Disclaimer, it is not a constant. You can actually vary. And I'm speaking from a perspective where I have walked into a TV station and I have sold content there.
You've bargained.
Yes, I have bargained. I have actually bargained for 60-40. The only problem came in when the sponsor came, they said, because I was using the approach, I said, let your content flourish. I've walked to a station and I said, this content is good. You put it up. If a sponsor comes, we shall deal with it. But I wasn't earning a penny at the beginning. And we put it out there and it flourished and the sponsors came in. So, to conclude that section, I don't think it's a rip-off. I think the TV stations literally have their share of the beating because the costs of broadcasting are extremely high, much as I respect the production.
So which definitely goes
Now,
back to if it's private, that is very okay.
Yes.
If at all there was infrastructure from government,
they would do it on their own cost.
Exactly, things would have been much better. Exactly,
Yes.
which means that nothing need to at the end of the day.
And actually, I was talking to Musta about this whole thing. Like, I think all the content creators are not seeing like the bigger picture. With like whoever wants to get into content, wants to shoot with a red, wants to shoot with a high-end stuff, of which TVs do not have the money to invest in. My friend and I, a couple of years ago, we did a show on 5D Mark IV. Mark 3 probably. I think 5D, the first 5D.
Mark 2.
Mark 2, yeah. So up to now, it's still a trending thing. And you look at people who have these small cameras that can shoot decent content, and they're leaving them to go hire bigger cameras to produce content to TV, and yet TVs are not willing to spend. And to be actually, let me just be specific on this point. Today, there is no TV that broadcasts in HD. When you take your work that is HD on TV, they convert it from HD, that is 1920 by 1080, to 480p. So that means 720 at least, for those ones that are the highest, 720. Yes. So my point out there is, when you're going into content, how cheap can you use the things that you have to produce decent content, so that when TV tells you that 70-30%, you pass. It doesn't push you. It does not. You don't have to break the bank to produce that content. Yes.
I think for me, the way forward that I look at it, yes, and I've listened to a lot of people and understood where their dilemma is, the one you're bringing up. I think it's high time people needed to think out of the box. Yeah. If I were a film producer out there, I think one of the tricks now that you can use, we have a lot of NGOs and a lot of companies that are now open. Yes. Advertising is now a thing. You understand? Yes. Don't just run and create something because you're passionate and it's because you just love something. Unless, of course, if you're going to do what the artists do, which is what I also advised, you can create one film for, like Wakaliwood for the Ugandan guys. But if you want to run it into a business and you want to make sure your money returns, I recommend highly, first do your groundwork. First do your groundwork. You have two options that are very valid if you want to spread and make money, but also move our content across. You could either anchor it towards what you call a revenue supporting structure, where I walk into an NGO and I say, look here, I have looked at your structure. You're struggling with how to tell people that water is life. I am willing to create skits for you that will support your message in a local way. There will be 5 minutes, and this is my cost. Go down, sit down with Musta, find your cost of executing that job, sit down with them and say, this is what I want. I know the best way to do this, and specialization still comes in. Find the best writer, find the best DOP, find the best who, put it together, find your cost, present it, push through until they say, I think the guy has the right thing. And it may even cost you. The second part is, if you're not going to do that, ensure your quality is there, where you're not anchoring towards a sponsor, and you bring your content to the TV, but still do your groundwork and understand where they're coming from. But also negotiate. No one is going to kill you when you negotiate.
Especially if it's good content.
If it's good content.
When you negotiate, these guys give you money. They've given us some good money.
Exactly. Don't say we bad.
Finally, he has spoken. He has received money.
He has received money from TV, and I will tell you, I will tell producers and content creators out there how. One, don't expect. For example, these days, very many people are asking me, how am I going to make all this money? How come I am putting 50 million and then someone is giving me 20 million? I'm telling them, take the 20 million.
Yes.
Because at 50 million, you are not selling all your rights. Yes. I've done 20 COVID skits where people were going to use them for 2 weeks. Yeah. So I have so far sold them 3 times. So I didn't wait for someone to give me the whole lump sum of my production cost. Yes, yes. So one, producers should know that. 2, don't create, especially people who are making series, don't go and create 3 seasons without a plan. Yes. These days, the intermediary and top guys are just making an episode or 2. And then that's what you are focusing on and marketing that, the pitching, pitch with that. If it doesn't work out, you are losing less money.
You're losing less money then.
The other thing why it helps is the advertisers. The traditional way of advertising is dying out. Where people will have to come and tell you, you have to use this Vaseline. They just have to see Musta using the Vaseline in a movie, and that's it.
Product placement.
So, product placement. So if you film 3 seasons, how will you go back and place the products?
Into the scenes.
Into the scenes. You can't, so you've crushed your scenes. That's some other thing the content creators should do. Now, about the quality.
Yeah.
Make sure that your content is going to pass test of time. You just said you have a show with a 5D Mark II, and we can still watch it and upload and say that's about it.
Yeah.
If tomorrow I walk into any TV station with episodes of Chigenya, I'm sure they will run.
Yes.
It may not be because of the picture or sound quality, but even the story. So what are you selling? When we were growing up, there was that Nigerian film of Omusajja nga bamuteka mu chupa. The quality is...
It was very bogus.
Okay, I didn't want... The quality is that. Yeah. But the reason as to why...
The story was good.
The story was good.
The story was good,
so,
man.
I always ask people that, what is your selling feature? Is it story? Then make sure it is intact. Yeah. Is it picture or sound quality, the technical aspects? Yeah. Make sure they are intact. And then go out there in the market, you won't get it wrong.
Yeah. So, Musta, what's your parting shot?
Okay, that's a very tricky question for me all the time.
The advice, like to young people that are
advice to the guys in the industry. Yeah. Man, the industry has come a long way. Yeah. I am actually very, very happy to be alive today to see where it is now. Yeah. Yeah. We've come. I don't know if I start talking about how far we've come from in terms of technology. Someone behind there would have an idea, but she's not on camera. To where we are now, it's amazing. Yeah. So that means that the future is so way bright for all of us. Yeah. Let us literally continue being creatives, and most of all, let's enjoy it, because this is fun. Yeah. I mean, who wakes up and goes to office in shorts, manzi? Apart from us, the creatives. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Where you have a big-time CEO walking into your office, but because you're a creative and you do amazing stuff, he will not ask you why you're in shorts and he's putting on a suit. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So let's just have a blast. Let's have a blast. Let's enjoy it. And then the biggest part that I want to, share with everyone, the time when we guys began this industry, we used to literally, what's the word? We used to work with each other. Like I was Twisted Films. I would work with Dedak. I would work with Tank. I would work with Megavision. So if you look at actually the way back productions, you would see like 4 production houses under the same thing.
Working on one music video.
Yeah, exactly. And that was just a music video, by the way. So everyone knew their strengths. They would be like, Musta, you come and operate the camera, and I know where my stuff is. They would run to Don Dedak, say you're a very good editor. Then they would run to Megavision. You've got the gear. So you see what I'm saying? So we're all different, and we all have different strengths in the industry. Let's put them together and make this work. It's an amazing stuff to see where we are right now. It means that things are actually getting better. Let's cooperate. Let's cooperate and make things, shine. Yeah.
Well said. My parting shot to the young creatives out there that are coming to this industry, I think it's really, really important to think about the strategy process before you even go to start writing. There are so many platforms that are looking for writers, NGOs, and different organizations that would like to put out content out there. So before you start a project, whether it's a TV show, whether it's a series, you need to look out there and see what are these people looking out so that you can incorporate that in your script. On the side of gear and technical stuff, try as much as possible to use what you have. Guys, I've seen so many videos that are being watched with over 1 billion views, but are shot just on phones. So it's not about the camera that you've used, it's about the story that you're trying to tell. And most importantly, try as much as possible to use little budgets so that when the project doesn't work out, it doesn't burn your fingers. I would like to take this opportunity to make this announcement. If you're a content creator out there and you're looking to sell content outside Uganda, I have a catalog of over 1,000 contacts of content buyers from Netflix, Sky Media, Century Fox, all those people. Feel free to contact through this platform, Net Studios, Incredible Media, Garage Group. You can inbox and we'll be able to discuss this whole thing offline. So, and another important point that I would like to put there is about making collaborations. Because of collaboration, this show is live through Net Studio. We're here filming at Net Studio and we are live, and it's just because we're in a collaboration working together. So let's embrace those collaborations and be able to produce dynamic, engaging content that we can sell out there. Thank you to Net Studio, to Incredible Media, and Garage Group.